I already told him you can apply when this first house was put up. You can apply for it or to apply for it, but you have to be already registered for at least registered for driving school. So I immediately signed up for driving school. I got that this week. I got it Thursday and Friday. I have to go to driving school. So I'm already signed up for driving school. I've already paid for it. If I miss it, I lose my money and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I'm already signed up for that for driving school. But I have to check my license every day. No, I call my attorney. He goes, yeah, well, as long as it says that, you're good to go. He did now. He sent me, his secretary or she sent me a form. He goes, fill this out. It was to apply for a hardship license, I think. He goes, send it out and we'll just hold on to that.
There's something to losing, right? Maybe the instructor of the class will know more. Does they hear what it was?
Should I ask them?
I would.
Or not ask them at all?
I would ask the instructor. Why not? You're already paying for it. Worst he can tell you is he doesn't know.
You leaving? Oh my God.
This call over to City Forestry Community Redevelopment Board meeting Tuesday, September 9th, 2025. Stand for the pledge. Please wait for restart the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, have roll, please.
Chairman John Eric Hooper.
Here.
Vice Chairman Chris Mayer.
Here.
Member Robert Hubbard.
Here.
Member Lisa Burke.
Here.
Member Christine Sullivan.
Here.
City Attorney Nancy Meyer. Here. City Manager Andrew Butterfield.
Here. Thank you. Okay, first up, we got a set of minutes to approve, so could I get a motion for the August 12th, 2025 CRA meeting minutes?
I approve the August 12th CRA minutes.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next up, comments from the general public. I have no sign-ups. By show of hands, I'd like to speak. Come on up.
So I think,
Name and address for the record.
oh, sorry, Devin Aaron, 5414 Bay Boulevard. I think that we got a golden opportunity. We've sat on our hands with a lot of the CRA money. We got $5.3 million. We can utilize that money, really build something great. And I think if we shepherd it really well, we'd have a really good chance at actually renewing our CRA in 6 months and change. That's really like the big deal that everybody kind of misses is we've had the CRA and we funded it, we've fumbled it and stuff like that, whether it's like the dredge lot, which we weren't even really supposed to do, or paying salaries, which we definitely weren't supposed to do. We really want to make sure that we can clean up our act and put this towards something that the county and that the state loves so that we can continue our CRA, because it really is going to go away. And if you think about it, we get, I think it's like 1 point, I know everybody, kind of chimes in. I think it's like 1.6, that's a good amount of money, $1.6 million a year, but we got 5.3 right now in the coffers. If we got 6 more years of that, it's really like almost like a third of our whole CRA we have even in entirety. And the CRA started in 2002, so this is really where it's going to pay off, is like from now, because this is where we get our dividends, because all the gains and incremental financing scheme of the CRA, that's when we get our main value out of it. So I think we need to probably stay away from these studies that just waste all of our money. They really are such a waste. I mean, these consultant firms are like the biggest joke and the biggest waste of time and money in the whole universe, and why nothing gets done. If we could come together on the council, come up with an idea that everybody sort of agrees on, we could really do something great. And I think that with this council, we really got a good shot at that. And I pray that we do the right thing with the money. Thank you.
Thanks, Devin. We have nobody else in the audience, so I'll bring it back to council. Next up is comments from the city manager. Pass it over to Mr. Butterfield for his comments.
Yes, sir. I've said several times we've for various reasons there's CRA money has been not stockpiled, but there's a couple years worth in there, and so I think we're at the right moment where we have needs and resources, and looking for a consensus on how to spend that. the official business. The only thing on the official agenda tonight was the setting the dates for future CRA meetings for the next year. But I know Councilman Hubbard had some business. We're going to move from the council over to here. So I look forward to hearing that. We can talk about if land acquisition is part of this. I've got a list of possibilities, ways to do things that I believe will be proper uses of the CRA and help the city. So looking forward to the discussion.
Sure. Okay, next up is comments from the board. Obviously, I think we've got a lot of stuff, comments from the board. So if you guys wouldn't mind if we could move that to after old business, we'll go ahead and finish up the CRA stuff and spend some time in that as opposed to doing that before and have to come back and do it's very easy stuff to get through. Is there any objections to do that? Do any motion as consensus? Okay. Yeah. So we'll move comments from the board to after old business like we did on the counseling. So that being said, moving on to our agenda, board business item number 2, discussion to schedule and advertise upcoming quarterly CRA meeting minutes. I'll pass that to Mr. Butterfield for introduction.
Yes, sir. If this current cycle is okay with everybody, we could just continue to do it on the second Tuesday in conjunction. The only thing I might offer is I got a piece of advice that normally it would be good for CRE to precede city council, so we could advertise to start CRA at 5 or 5:30 and then go into city council next. But not hard over on that. But there was some discussion from the staff that might be worth discussing.
To put the CRA meeting first.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that?
I'm fine with that.
You say start at 5:30.
I think that's fine. Is there any reason we couldn't put the CRA in front of the council meeting?
No, as long as there's statutory requirements that we have to have actions taken after 5:30 at the council meeting, but we'd still be good for that.
Yep.
If CRA, if there was actions, I guess, right?
Yep.
So that just if we get us started on that, and hopefully we would be done by 6, or
If it went quick, we can't start the city council meeting till 6 when it's advertised. But if the CRA meeting went long, it's okay to start the city council meeting afterwards, right, Ashley? And please opine. I value your input on
That's
this.
correct. Yes,
Yeah.
you guys can hold a CRA meeting before. That's no problem, and it's beneficial to have CRA business that could bleed into council and get it all done in one night. But if you guys finish your CRA meeting before 6, we cannot start the council meeting until 6 o'clock. So there will be a little bit of a holdover with that. And I do want to preface also, I talked to the city manager, if we have people coming in to speak for council meetings, we just need to be cognizant of that. When we have people, we try to make sure that they're first of business for council, but I'm all for putting CRA first. It's just a matter of council can be here earlier.
Staff pointed out that things, as you said, Ashley, CRA meeting might move business to the council. So instead of waiting a couple of weeks or a month, you could go
Yes.
right into
Yeah,
it.
that's
It would be
advantage.
2 birds with 1 stone. Yeah.
So that's my recommendation. I think it's not a gotta do, but it might be worth trying and see if we find.
The only, like I said, the only issue is if it was going to be a long CRA meeting, and we know about it from an agenda perspective, we might want to roll to afters because people are going to be coming to the council meeting. Anyone wouldn't have to wait, obviously.
If we're anticipating a long agenda, I suppose we could flip it as long as we realize before advertising deadlines.
It would just need some coordination when we're working together with the agenda. If we feel like it's going to be long, if it's going to be a very extensive discussion item for CRA, we scale back council or depending. I mean, it's just a balancing act with those. It is beneficial to hold CRA before because then you guys aren't waiting for approving something for CRA and then having to wait 2 more weeks for it to come back for council approval.
So Nancy, because we advertise these, we got to have these 4, and let's say we schedule them at 5:30, and we come up on one and we know that it's going to be a long one. Is it okay since we already pre-scheduled that to change that?
You need to make that decision before you advertise it. I mean, if you had to change, you find a way you can do what you probably could, but it'd be a very bad idea to change it last minute. Like, oh, let's put the word out. We're going to do it a different time. So you want to know that when you advertise it.
And I think from CRA perspective, we would know if something was going to be lengthy, well advanced.
And you could always, as you know, have your regular CRA meeting, and if there was something bigger that needs more time, call it a different meeting for that topic. Not that you want to do that, but that's always an option.
Okay. So is there any objections to, is your item number 2, does it state that start at 5:30 or is that something else we need to action?
No, that's just the dates. It's
So it's
only
just the dates.
solidifying dates.
Just a date.
Okay.
It
So,
says, it says in here immediately following city council meetings.
Correct, but I can change the verbiage of the ad, because I do have to notice in the newspaper, so the verbiage of the ad can be that they will be before council. I'll make sure that it's approved before
So-
sending it out.
so if I could get a motion to approve the upcoming quarterly CRA dates with the change of moving them before council starting at 5:30.
So moved.
Okay. I got a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second
it. I'm sorry. Go ahead. She's second.
Okay. I give it to Christine second. Okay. Any further discussion? Any public comment? Seeing none, put to vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And just for clarification, this is all CRA meetings because these are the ones that we're required to hold. We do hold more throughout the year, so this will be every CRA meeting
Yeah, I would think.
moving forward. Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Can we hold another CRA meeting after a council meeting if we vote on it?
Good.
It would have to be noticed,
Be noticed.
Okay,
but that
so it's possible though,
Right.
if we
it
had
is
to.
possible, yes. But it would, you can't have a CRA meeting and then go into council and say, well, I want to talk more about the CRA item. It has to be noticed, and there's.
Let me ask you this: if let's say we did start at 5:30, well, by consensus we decided to do that, and let's say we do get rolling at CRA, could we gavel out and suspend that meeting, go into the council, and then pick back up the CRA meeting after that break? I
I've
think
never seen that done in my life, but I'm not saying you could do it. But wait, no, I mean, to be serious, there were times when you were in a that would just be for an ordinance. So no, I've never seen that done. I don't know that that would be proper to do that.
if you could check and see if that's just so we would know if that's something that
Yeah.
we could do.
And again, I think we know, as we talked about planning wise, you would probably know if it was something that would need more time, but I can't think of a scenario that you would do that. But yeah, I'll add it to my
I mean, you
list.
could technically recess for a couple hours and come back.
Yeah, I guess.
You could.
Okay, next up is old business. Any old business for CRA? I know you mentioned about old business last time, Christine. And
Yeah,
so it's in there now.
CRA.
Good?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, with no old business, then we'll move on to.
Property acquisitions on old business.
It is?
It's on the bottom there.
What specifically, what
It
property?
doesn't say anything specifically, so.
City manager and the council are discussing properties acquired. Yeah, so, but, we're gonna cover it in the
Okay.
comments, so, since you already planned. So, moving past old business, I'll go to, board comments, and I'll start, with Member Hubbard.
Okay, I'm sharing the screen again. Gentlemen, we had talked, like I said, about sharing property swapping out here on
Can I interrupt you for just a minute, please?
Yep.
Oh, I don't have the luxury of seeing what you're pointing at on this screen.
I'll describe it.
Oh, he should be able to see it on his,
He can use his mouse to navigate. If Bob wants to sit and navigate his mouse, then Chris will be able to.
oh, you can see his screen, you just can't see what he's talking about? Oh, yeah,
If he moves his mouse, I can see it.
okay, there
Can
you
you
go.
see it now?
Yeah.
Thank you, Bob.
No problem, Chris. Anything for Chris. Hey, Chris is my buddy. Don't take on Chris. So anyway, because of Chris's comments and the part that we talked about putting docks at Nick's Park and representing the city where we are, all of us up here, the gentleman owns this property, has people right now bidding on this property. And he's put a halt to selling it because he would rather sell it to the city at this point because of what we're doing. And because of that, this property here is extremely valuable, obviously right in the middle of the waterfront district, but it could give us a possibility of owning, I said, like this property here, we already own this, but we could get this piece of property on 19 to where the city would have all the property all the way to the water, and we could get it within the budget we have for property acquisition. I think that would be extremely valuable move. And I'd like to hear a little bit, Andy, you looked in this a little bit too.
Sir, did you include the Thai restaurant?
Yes. Everything from 19, all of this property here. Of course, this is the right of way, this piece of property, all of this we would own, yes.
So we've already got Nick's Park, and then we've got 2 lots just due west
Right
of
here.
the Thai restaurant.
Right.
So it would be a matter of 2 purchases, buying the Billy's property and the Thai restaurant.
Right. If we don't make a decision tonight, he'll just go ahead and sell it to someone else. That's the unfortunate. Huh?
Did you say tonight?
I would like to move that Andy and Nancy make a move to acquire this property, at least this property here right now, and look into this property also. That would be extremely valuable to the citizens of the city. It would get everybody's attention that we're serious about doing something down there, and we'd have control over what we can do with this property as far as accessibility, which is what I've talked about already, and help developers, current developers down there, as well as future developers, and welcome serious future developers by showing them that what we're trying to do down here is very serious.
If you could restate your motion more specific, you just said you'd like to make a motion to purchase the property. There's no amount. There's no.
Well, it's a negotiation.
So you motion to start negotiations on the property.
Right. I know that we can acquire this property for our budget if they can negotiate something to where it would be in that budget or less. I'd like to make a motion to have Nancy and Andy negotiate and lock in that property for the city.
Is there an amount that you're going to?
Well, we have 1.9 in the budget. It would be that or less.
Okay, so you're making a motion that they would negotiate the purchase of the property up to $1.9 million
for both pieces of property. Yes.
Oh, that includes the Thai restaurant, Thai restaurant, and the
everything.
Okay.
I've got a question for you. I'm sorry,
Yep.
Eric. That piece of property you mentioned that's behind the pirate bar there, is that included in the deal?
Yes, this little piece here.
That's included in the deal?
Yes. And behind all this, behind the restaurant here, and of course this is our right of way.
Isn't that one section the old Guild Dog property beside the pirate park?
With the cars parked there, yeah, that's Guild Dog property. There's a fence that goes.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is this is parking over here. A lot of trees, and this is kind of crappy piece of property here. This needs to be cleared out too. But yes, this is included in it.
So for clarity purposes, there's one owner for that whole piece that butts up to our 2 lots and that also butts up to where those cars were Guild Dog owns, correct?
Yes, Billy, call it Caditas. Don't ask me to say it again. It's right there. He owns all this property. Yes, and he wants out. He doesn't want his property swapped. He wants out. The bait shop would be ours. Take it down. Do whatever we want with that. I would suggest. This is if we acquire the property, but you can put shops right down here. Have a parking garage in here. Future. So you're talking years down the road, but you could have shops here. You could have another bait shop. You could build this is a historic little building. If you could build some buildings like that down here in pastels, it would be very inviting and have all this as far as parking for access to the water area. I mean, it's parking now, but I think we need to, and we can do all kinds of stuff with this property over here too. So it would pay for itself. It would be a great investment for the city. And if you want to get funding for the city, they see the acquisition means we're serious about doing stuff down there, as well as some other projects I want to talk about after this. But Andy?
Yeah, sure. Sure. Are you talking about, when you mentioned the 1.9, are you talking about in this fiscal budget that we're sitting in talking about right now, or are you talking about next year's budget? CRA budget.
CRA says 1.9 for property acquisition.
Next year?
That's October 1st.
Yeah, it's October 1st. I'm not 100% that we can go in agreement to do anything with fiction money. This is all fictionary money. So we haven't approved a final budget, so there's not 1.9 million.
Okay.
If you're going to use what's in there now, then you can appropriate that this year of what's in there right now. But then I'd have to come back and we'd have to finagle a little bit this year. I mean, if you're talking about wanting to go do it this year and use this year's money, we absolutely can. I just have to update that. But you can't really go forward and spend money we haven't approved yet.
Okay.
So if you want to talk about this year, there is money in there to do it this year. To do that, then we just got to word it correctly so that we.
If we
do
could,
it.
well, that's what.
Well, let me do this, because obviously there's a motion on the floor, okay? And I can call for a second for the purpose of discussion, or if you want to retract your motion, we can have some more discussion. But I think before we move to a motion on something, we probably ought to have some more discussion. But I don't want to force a vote on this until we have some discussion. So procedurally, would you want to pull your motion for right now, and then we can have
Yeah, I'll
some?
pull it for now.
Okay.
We can discuss. I want Andy and actually, I want them to work this out.
And there'll be an opportunity for that after we have some discussion. So,
Well, the land is inherently valuable, especially down on the waterfront. It would give us like a stakeholder claim there with a lot of flexibility connecting, as you said, Councilman, from 19 all the way to the river. So it is a great opportunity. Short term, it would really help us when we come up with the redesign for Nick's Park to freshen that up. It would help us to continue operations there. Let's say you fence off half of Nick's Park at a time and get it worked on, and then do the other half. There'd still be parking as the parking lot was cleared. The current parking lot was cleared. You'd have parking just east of there, where Billy already rents parking spots when the free city parking is filled up. And then, of course, it has an inherent value that whatever plans change, it's valuable property. So now I think in talking to Billy, I don't think he used the word legacy, but it sounded like he wanted to leave a legacy. He'd rather sell it to the city. I think if a developer bought it now, the city would never have another chance for 100 years to buy it, is how Billy put it. And probably true because of its value, but he wants to give us first right of refusal at least. So I would love the opportunity to, with Nancy, negotiate a fair price for the property. I think it'd be a great asset for the city and a good use of CRA money, enabling us to parlay the parks we have and maybe add to the park situation with part of that property.
I agree with everything you're saying. I'm 100% with that. If we're talking about doing this, and we're still in this fiscal year, so we talked about using the money we have right now. It's the same money basically, except it's appropriated differently. So if we're going to do that, we say, okay, let's do this. So if we go next week and buy this, we do it in this fiscal year because we don't actually have a budget set for next year until our next reading. So if we're talking about, we have to use the words this fiscal year so that we can move forward. And if we do that, we can appropriate that money in this fiscal year. And then I come back at our next budget meeting and reappropriate with that taken out. So what we appropriated was money we were carrying forward. We're not going to carry forward that if we appropriate it now to purchase this land, if that's what we have to do. Or we sit and say, okay, we're talking about it to spend in next year's budget if appropriated. But right now, we don't have any money appropriated for that. But if you're going to buy it, you got to buy it out this fiscal year.
In my motion, I would ask for reappropriation.
Now I do it. And I'm saying that because I agree it's a great deal. And we talked to Andy. It's just, if we use the wording incorrectly, it could falter some things. So yeah, we don't technically have any money for next year.
when you say it's a great deal, is there numbers involved? Because I haven't heard a number yet.
Well, yeah, I heard preliminary numbers of 1.6 and 1.9. I think from what he's saying, is the ballpark numbers that I'm hearing. So, like, if we want to appropriate that money right now, we can do that and say we set this aside, and then I come back at the next budget meeting with a different budget for you guys, not adding but just subtracting that land acquisition out.
Well, I don't want to get too caught up in we're a couple weeks away from October 1, so no real estate deal is going to happen that fast anyway.
Correct.
So, and obviously, if there was a negotiation that happens, I would think it would have to come back to council to approve that purchase. We just can't give you a blanket check.
I'd be very uncomfortable even with direction from Andy and I to negotiate it without coming back to you guys to finalize.
And I, for one, would never pass an open motion like that without knowing the cost.
Right. No.
What's one thing to negotiate a price?
I'm asking for a negotiation, and then next meeting, if we approve a deposit, and then of course the closing date would be later.
So it's the same dollars. It's just if we use.
I think it's the wording. I don't think we say we buy anything. We're negotiating. You can negotiate it. I just think the wording the way I heard it is kind of off, and we're saying, let's, we say we negotiate, we go in there, and then, at our next meeting, we say, let's purchase if that's what we want to do. But if we're talking about negotiating right now, and hopefully, he's very excited about it. I think it's a very good thing, but we have to make sure we understand that we don't have any money for next year. Technically, right now, if you want to buy it today, if you say, hey, let's go negotiate today for it, we need to appropriate out of this year's budget, not next year, because we don't have it.
We don't, to negotiate, maybe I'm wrong. You don't need to appropriate it. We wouldn't buy it until after October, which that's budgeted.
Right.
So just to have a conversation doesn't cost any money.
The way I heard it, it wasn't a conversation. It was more,
Right.
I'm
Well,
excited about it.
so
That's
we
what I'm
can
saying.
find
We just
that.
got to word it the correct way, because when he's talking about, he's using a $1.9 million appropriation that's in our fiscal next year budget, we technically don't have right now.
Right.
So if you're talking about
Fair.
1.9 million, we don't have 1.9 million till
That's fair.
next year.
That's fair.
That's what
Well,
I'm saying.
I think if like we could do a reappropriation for the funds, but if in negotiations it comes to the point to where he's wanting a deposit, we could have an emergency meeting for that. But we would be informed on negotiations, and we could have an emergency meeting if it needed to be to get this done, if that's what needs to be done.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. We have the money to do it now if you want to. I mean, that 1.9 million is just rolled over money.
Right.
I'm just saying, but the way we word it, you have to make sure
I
we're
understand.
keeping it in the fiscal years, because that 1.9 you keep talking about is not the actual money yet.
Right.
So
Well, it will be after October.
It's a theoretical ceiling that
it is. But I hate for anybody to come back and
We're-
say that we're doing things out of sequence.
point taken.
That's just my
Point taken. Yeah. So you mentioned 1.6. That's kind of the one I heard as well. Is that
Mhm.
fair? Because I can talk a little bit about that if that's the reference point.
I'm not sure. I mean, it could be, like I said, that's why he was wanting, he's been offered 1.5 for it. I mean, I don't know if he'll sell it to us for less. He's talking about $1 million in financing the rest. I don't want to finance. You have to get bonding and all. It's
Right.
not good for the city to
So
do that.
I've done a little research and due diligence. So I
know.
I talked to Ron McDonald, who's a real estate person, and I was talking to Sean Poole on values of per acre in the waterfront, not on the water, not on 19. So I'm gonna carve out the Thai restaurant because that's on 19, and just talk about Colquitas property. So that's 1.1 acres, okay, and at a price of 1.6. Let me pull up my
1.8, you said?
1.6.
It's 1.1 acres.
I thought it was 1.5 here.
It's 1.1 acres for the 4 parcels. I got a,
5 to the asking.
what's that?
1.6.
He's asking 1.6. So,
His initial offer was $1 million up front and then financed the other $600K over 25 years, I think
So-
he said.
so I'm going to share my screen. I think it should, to see. I need you to stop sharing, Bob, for a minute.
Oh,
You're good. Ashley must took you out. Okay. Okay, so here's the 4 parcels up here. So one's 0.45, one's 0.24, one's 0.24, or 2.2 or 2.2 or 0.24, and one's 0.17 for a total of 1.1 acres. Here's the land value and tax thing is $161,113. Building value of $12,924, features 13, and then for a total appraised value of all 4 properties, $187,050. That's tax valuation, right? What Ron had said is low end, $650,000 an acre, and then he said high end about $800,000 an acre. And just so you know, on the proposed purchase at 1.6 million, that's $1.4 million an acre. Okay, so considerable higher from the high end, almost double of 800,000. Now, when I talked to Sean Poole, just to get another opinion, and Sean Poole's probably a little more in tune with that than Ron is, just because Sean is a Snap Realty. He's actively selling stuff in the area, and he said his high end was about 650. Okay, and so at 650, that total value would be about 715. Would probably be what our target would be, right? I will say, as a comp, the Gildog purchase here, that was 8.5 acres, and that included waterfront property and 19 frontage property. So the big trailer park lot on 19 and the Gildog along the water there, not the water but the canal water, there is a very small point that goes out that is facing that. But they paid $9.20 an acre. So there was some additional money in there, obviously because of the waterfront that you have and also the 19 frontage. So that's a good comparison to use because that just happened. And so for us to pay 1.6 for that is a non-starter in my mind, and he's not going to sell that for that because it's not worth that. And so I just want to share those numbers first off. And I definitely don't have a problem negotiating on it. And I think it has value. So the next thing I want to talk about is what would we do with that? Because it's not really a government's job to speculate on real estate. We could do some things with it, yes. And you mentioned building some shops and stuff along there. Again, that's not something a government entity would normally do is develop a property.
Well, it leases out property to people that would.
You can do that, and but again, you're taking on the cost of doing that development yourself, which I'll use Ryan's numbers. He just reported today at Planning and Zoning, is that the across the 8.5 acres, the 19 property, which is about 5, that was a $58 million project, and then the other part, the Gildog property, was a $80 million project for a total of about $138 million across those 8.5 acres. Okay, so obviously it would be very difficult for the city to go into and develop something of any scale on that property. The only thing that we could possibly do if we acquired it was to engage developers to provide, whether to lease the property back over and they build on it or something like that. Again, whatever we buy, we get zero tax dollars from. So depending on what we want to do with our property acquisition, I think we start there. So what do we, if we purchase this for whatever amount, what do you think our immediate goal to do? Just
Well,
hold it?
immediate would be parking, like I said, accessibility, and that would benefit everybody. I mean, as far as like Christine had some ideas, Chris had some ideas. I think that would be something in the future, but I think it could be something we could discuss. There's a lot of things we could do with it,
Right.
but that can be discussed later. I just think acquiring the property would be an asset to the city instead of a developer putting a car wash down there, someone buying it.
Right. Well,
Somebody's going to sell it to somebody else.
You can't have car wash at WOD.
Okay.
I
Well,
believe that's correct. Yeah.
they can put different things down there that may not help other people down there.
Right.
You
If
don't know.
you want to buy the property, prevent free enterprise from doing something with
No,
it.
I'm not doing it.
But the WOD
No,
and
I'm
zoning
doing it to
is
benefit the city, and it could pay for itself with parking fees.
right. So if we just cover parking, because I looked at that, I think they charge $10 for boat trailers. And let me
Currently,
right. So here, I'm going to go through this, and this is oops, what happened. So I went down and captured all historical photos that Google Earth had of that lot, and there's about one every year. A couple of years have two. So this is coming the most recent. So this is a Sunday, February 23rd, 2025. On a Sunday, our boat ramp is pretty full there, as you can see, but there is not. It looks like there's a couple trailers here. Okay. And if I continue on, here's Saturday, April 20th. Now this is most representative of a weekend that would be really busy. And I tried to count what was on here, and probably around 40 or so. At this time, this was Saturday, April 20th, 2024. If you move to Sunday, March 26th, 2023, you have nothing. Sunday, March 13th, 2022, nothing. Sunday, October 17th, 2021, there's a few in there. Monday, May 24th, 2021, just a couple. Friday, December 18th, 2020, nothing. November 27th on a Wednesday, 4 there.
yeah, November. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I had a business down there.
Right. So
People park on the side of the roads. The parking lot's been filled. They had Whiskey Joe's was leasing property from us because they didn't have enough parking. there's a parking problem down there now. And if you want to develop this, you want to develop, you need to fix that and have more parking because you're going to have a bigger problem in the future.
And
And that's why this property is valuable and it will
And that-
pay for itself.
There were people parking at Hooters
Yeah.
when they were closed too. So
Yep.
are you
Right,
looking at,
not boat parking. I'm just talking about boat parking. So obviously you could
yeah,
do anything
boat
about
parking?
No,
They're
this
parking
is,
at Hooters.
this is cars and boats and trailers. I'm not crazy about boats and trucks and trailers there, but we have a boat ramp. But that parking would be for cars, and the parking garage would be mainly for cars. And you could have trucks and trailers. You can't park on the first floor of that parking garage during the day, and people can run up with cars on the roof. And at nighttime, the ramp will be closed, and it'll all be for cars. And you're going to need that parking.
Right.
Plus, you can do other things with the property besides that.
Right, 100%. Parking
For
is
$15 for trucks and trailers, and $10 or $5 even for cars to park there would be valuable for everybody down there and the city.
right. So, and I won't go through all these. I just flip through them. But most of the time, these pictures, there's not a lot going on there. Now, all the restaurants, and so keep in mind as these businesses open, there's parking requirements that are required. Obviously, Hooters has a requirement. Catches has a requirement. They have an overflow lot even to meet that requirement. And anything that goes in down there is going to have a parking requirement. There are times when we're starving for parking when we have fireworks and different things, and they've used the Guild Dog lot on 19. And so there is at times a parking need. But from an investment perspective, is all I want to talk about. Let me pull the other one back up
Well,
here.
from an investment perspective, someone wants to put a business down there and they need to have parking accessibility. Well, we're providing that for them already. That's a big bonus for them too.
Right. If we I'll use Newport Richie as an example. They built, I don't know what they put in that $10 million. You know what that parking deck was? Froggy?
It was close to 10 million.
A $10 million parking structure, whatever. Sits empty most of the time. Now, when there's an event or something down there, obviously
Right.
it's so. If we, and I just did a little number here at the 1.6 million. If we had 50 trailers per week, and if you let's bump that up to we have 100 cars there. Okay, at $10 each, it takes us 30 years to get that 1.6 million back. If you cut that in half and pay 800,000, that's going to be 15 years. It's a long time.
But then you still have the property though. So
the property,
right. So then the property by then would be so much higher. So you'd have to factor that in as well.
Again, if we could get the property for a good price, it gives us options. And parking obviously brings in some revenue. I mean, we're getting the ad valorem on it right now. We get $1,100 a year, and that was just nothing. So you could actually you get more money from parking to beat that. So you definitely be getting more for it than you would. But again, I think the key is, and what I don't want to lose is, we want to have a destination to park at. You don't want to just come down here and park now because there's nothing to do. So unless you have something going on down, I'll open up public comments in. If we have that land that we are able to use to help develop that down there, it makes a lot of sense. But again, it's not selling because the price is too high. So
it's going to sell to somebody else if we don't. And then who knows what they're going to put there. And then you want to put parking down there later, you're not going to be able to.
Right.
Well,
That's
not
the bottom line.
Well, that's not true.
Yeah, it is. It's absolutely
So
true.
again, you can't just build something without the ability to park. Right? For instance, if we're going to put a restaurant, somebody bought that, put a restaurant, they would have to have so many parking spaces.
You ever go to like John's Pass, or you ever go to Marco Island, or down there in Eden, and there's a lot of
In our
shops there.
city-
They don't have parking.
Right. In our city, we have parking requirements, and so the question.
Whiskey Joe's didn't cooperate with that, did they?
Yeah, they did. That's
No,
why
they didn't. They got
they did.
They got a room for 100 people there, and they got parking for 40 cars.
They couldn't open without the park. That's why they had to acquire that other lot on
Didn't
the.
work out very well for them. That's why they had to lease other people's property for parking.
If we improve the boat ramp and improve the boat parking out there on the docks, aren't we planning for future revenues as well, and for the future of the park and increased park usage due to the waterfront being up and coming and revitalized and everything? Aren't we planning for the future,
Yes.
not for today?
That's correct.
So if we don't do this now, then we won't have the opportunity to buy parking spaces again. So we'd be stuck with what's at the park,
Well,
and then our park would kind of be obsolete.
Well, here's the thing, and you're right. But if you take the heart of our waterfront, which is what this is. This is right smack dab in the middle of the waterfront.
Mm-hmm.
And you build a big parking structure there. You know, what are they parking for? I mean, just go out and look on the water.
You're not going to do it right now. Matter of fact, all you do is have the engineering for it, and you have a resort sees, well, these guys are serious about parking. They got accessibility. We can do something there. They're going to want to. Somebody's going to want to build there, and they're going to want to bring traffic in there because they got a place for it. It's future development. It's not something right now, but we need parking now. Actually, we could use some parking right now. But if you want this to develop, you're going to have accessibility for whatever anybody does down there, even current developers. And you want future developers, you need to have accessibility for them.
So if money was not an option, right? If money was not an option,
It's always an option.
Excuse me. I'll okay. I'll have the floor now. Okay. So if money wasn't an object, and we purchased this property, and we would put a parking deck there, let's say, is that something that you're thinking? I'm just trying to see what.
In probably 4 or 5 years, yeah.
So the long-term goal would to build a parking structure there.
It takes time to do that, yes.
I understand. Again, money not option. Say the money's just falling out of our pockets,
Right.
and we could do it today. The long-term goal is if we're looking to purchase that to build a parking deck there, that's kind of the goal. Okay. And so,
I think for the first years, it could be a surface parking lot.
Right.
While
right, I
drive
mean,
is being
you can do
designed.
lots of things with it. But if our and that's what I'm getting at. What's our long-term goal? What's our vision for this purchase? Because
what's your long-term goal?
well, I want to see our waterfront be a destination where you can go down and you can, visit a shop. You can go to a restaurant. It's a vibrant downtown type feel where you have stuff to do.
You want to have festivals and stuff, right?
Festivals, sure, they're more probably waterfront park than they would be in there. But if that was developed down there into a vibrant downtown like feel area, you could probably have some street festivals, stuff like that. But again, if it's just a big parking structure in the middle of it, I'm not sure that's something that would be beneficial.
John's Pass has one right that they wish they'd had it sooner, but they got one right in the middle of their John's Pass. Right in the middle of John's Pass, they got a five-story garage now.
Well, I've been to John's Pass, and there's stuff to do down there besides park. I guess you need
There
parking
is, and
to
that's
do
what
things.
that's what we want to do too.
And I will say too that the idea behind WOD is not that way. But if we're going to provide structured parking, we could reduce the parking requirements on businesses because we would have that structure there.
And have more businesses. Exactly.
But where would businesses go?
Well, there's a lot more options then, isn't there?
Well, no, it's all.
Yeah, no, there'd be more options because instead of having a building and 3/4 of their property have to be for parking, they could have 80% for their business, and that's part because we're providing parking for them.
I'm gonna pull up the map.
If I may, if we acquired it, we could realign the roads to a way that made sense for us for the future, and then we could identify parts of our parcel that we could sell off to private businesses that would benefit for being on the right place because the roads can be totally different than they are right now.
And
Where
I'm
they're set up.
90% sure that if you have a designed parking garage and a place for it down there, that a future resort developer and the state of Florida would help you build it. That'd be part of the terms because they have to have parking accessibility. It's already implemented. All they have to do is help with some of the funding as well as the state. And it's there. You got a place for it.
So here's the entire waterfront, and obviously these parcels here are sold, and somebody may do something with those very, very soon to the tune of $138 million. Don't know what it is. Plans are supposed to be submitted within a couple weeks. You have the old Seaside restaurant here. The hotel's coming down. Right? I think they've already moving on that or whatever. But that's currently for sale. So that's something that somebody could potentially do something with. Hooters probably not going anywhere. Already there. Same thing with Whiskey Joe's. Whiskey Joe's bought the house here that they're going to do some kind of wedding event venue or whatever, and they also bought. I think they have a contract on this property here to satisfy their parking needs. All right.
They own that already.
Pasco Fraser didn't show it changed yet. This is Catches.
That's Catches.
Catches on that's their overflow. This one right here is what I think is under contract with Whiskey Joe's.
That's correct.
Yeah, I apologize. And obviously Catches is here. They ain't going anywhere. The marina's here. And so really outside of that, this right here is all the vacant land that's left. And so if you again, I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. I just want to make sure that we have the right vision, because the vision for the waterfront wasn't to have a big structured parking deck right smack dab in the middle of it. It would make probably more sense to have the parking deck down here, kind of away from all the action, because this is the heart of our waterfront. And if we build a parking garage that is just a parking garage, you got to make sure that you have lots of things around here for that.
Well, that's how you get things around here.
They're there. So what
They're not there yet.
are you thinking if we build a parking deck here that all the waterfronts will be bulldozed and they're going to build other things? I mean, that's a possibility, I guess.
Well, I think that you're going to invite more businesses because they're not going to be strapped for having to build parking. I think there'd be more accessibility to everybody, current developers and future developers. And like I said, you're talking 5 years down the road. It's not overnight. You acquired property now, then we need to do like a match funding for a design first. And that's going to take a while to get that done. And then we have it's sitting there with the footprint of where it goes. You have future developers come in there. We said, well, we have a design for parking garage. This is where we want to put it. If you want to put a resort in here, or we can even advertise that we have this and what we're doing to bring a developer or a resort in there. That helps their footprint as far as a business. They don't have to furnish parking because we have it for them, and they'll help build that for us, as well as the state, because it's a big improvement for the county. Should have a lot of business going on down here. Would be probably the busiest part of this county by far once it's done. But you have to have accessibility or plans for accessibility in order for that to happen. You can't just have a parking lot here, parking lot there, and just a business scattered around. Like I said, I've been in a lot of different places, and there's usually a parking garage for events or for the weekends for the business down there. And we have a problem right now with parking down there. People park on the side of the road. Now, Whiskey Joe's did purchase that property. Maybe they'll do something else with it if we put a parking garage in there. I don't know. But it improves the whole waterfront area. Like I said, you got docks for boat dock parking, and you got parking for cars, boats, and trailers. And that's something that you're going to show you have accessibility for anybody who wants to do business in there. It's going to improve the property. And it's going to improve real estate property, as well as a couple other things I want to mention too. So either you want to do it or let them sell to somebody else, and they'll put pickleball courts, or they'll put whatever down there. I don't know. But I just think for the future of the city, this is an important piece of real estate to have.
If I may, I've heard the number, maybe 1,000 new residents might be living down there when Mr. Burke's development is done. And people need cars and delivery vehicles and all kinds of things. And then we've talked about, I think that development was pretty much sold to the public based on it won't be a compound with a wall blocking the view. It'll help current citizens get to the waterfront and enjoy it. So a city-owned place to park, I think, would help to that end. I've even heard, I think one of the councilmen has suggested maybe a free parking for citizens, a free parking pass.
Right.
That would get you in that. So that'd be honoring a promise to the current citizens and welcoming people know they have somewhere to park when they come in for the new people that are going to be moving in to man the new Moffitt Center.
Exactly. And you're going to have a lot of traffic from that.
So they live here, but so they're not getting a hotel parking spot down there, but they live here and they know. They live 20 minutes away, and they know they can come down and visit the waterfront and find a parking spot.
And you have a carnival or something over at Waterfront Park with food trucks and stuff, a big event. You're going to have, in 4 or 5 years, you're going to have shuttles from here to Newport Richie and around there. We're talking about maybe a little tram or something carrying people around, picking people up at the parking lot, taking them over to Waterfront Park from there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I think people, you're talking about that parking garage, which I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I'm not saying it's a good idea. But what I do know is about 4 years ago, we bought the property over there, and it was sold to the people as they're buying that property for parking. And what happened is nobody in the city, no citizens were ever allowed to park on that property.
It's got about $500,000 wrapped up in
It
that.
was about, I think it was 300,000
But
a
it's-
piece by the time they tore it down there. Yeah, it was about
You're talking about
$500,000, and it was all
Yes.
sold to the citizens on more parking, and not one of us ever got to park on that property.
You said that was $500,000?
By the
By the time they did the
demolition and all that's we got about $500,000 in it.
So with 4 more parcels, $500,000 spent on that, that would be like nearly $2 million. So we're still under that. So it seems
So what
still
I'm
like a
basically saying is a
logical
plan, because there wasn't a plan before. There was if we buy this property, you'll have someplace to park. And
Well, we can charge $10 for parking right now, tomorrow, but in the future, I think that this is, like I said, it's imperative that we offer accessibility to the waterfront district. And real estate is worth what someone's willing to pay for it, and he's going to sell it for more than 1.3 million anyway. So if we don't buy it, he'll sell it to somebody else, and who knows what to do, and who knows what kind of accessibility we have to it. I don't have no idea, but I'd like to have it where the citizens have something that for the future of the city as that grows down there, which is what I'm trying to do, improve the value of people's property without raising their taxes. This is imperative.
I agree with Bob that we should negotiate.
No, I have.
I agree. We should
Tried the whole
negotiate.
time. And I've done a substantial amount of buying and selling real estate, commercial, residential, and we have this beautiful boat ramp and this waterfront access right there. And regardless of which way we go, whether we decide we want to put a parking garage there or whether we want to enter into a public-private relationship somehow, like Newport Richie does in these situations here, that property is going to be valuable. That is in the future. You know, that's going to be some very valuable. We're not going to get it back. We're not going to get another opportunity to buy it. And as long as we don't have another use, the only thing I'm looking at right now is, do we have a better use for that money? Because if we don't have a better use for that money, sitting in the bank right now, we're actually losing money when it's sitting there.
Absolutely.
Versus investing it.
And
I'll just throw some numbers out there. If we can buy that and the Thai place for less than what we were planning on spending anyway, I think it's a great investment, and I think it's going to complement us in the near future, because our folks over there who have dropped, all that money on Gill Dogs and everything over there, they're not going to stop. Somebody's going to move and do something over there, which is going to make that property worth even more. So I'm open to the idea, as long as you guys or gals can't come up with a reason why we should spend that money elsewhere. But sitting on our hands right now is not a good move for us. And I think this is really is our crown jewel. This is our opportunity to have a piece of the entryway to the golf.
Well, I agree, Chris. I think we can do private and public uses for that over there. Do both. And that's something that we can determine. I mean, I got ideas. Everybody's got ideas. I think if we purchase that, we can put together a workshop later this year, next year, and decide more of what we want to do with the future of that. But I think a parking garage on part of that would be imperative to the growth of that real estate down there. But you're right. And if we wanted to, in 4 or 5 years, it didn't work out, we could sell for more than what we paid for it, probably.
So keep in mind that as things develop down there, whether it's on that parcel or other parcels, they're going to have to be elevated. And when they're elevated, you park underneath the elevation. So you're going to see plans come forward. You're going to have a couple levels of parking as part of that.
Yeah.
So
if we own that property, the dredging material will go there too for that.
Right. So there's going to be parking components at the lower level on all the stuff that gets built down there anyway. So as things develop, there's going to be parking included in that.
And there might not be a necessity for a parking garage because we might
That's all I'm saying.
might wind up raising all those buildings and parking underneath, but regardless, we need the land.
Right. So, and I don't have a problem, like I said, if we can get the land for a good price. I don't want to overpay for this because, again,
You paid $500,000 for 9 and 10, and you're looking at 4 more lots for under $2 million.
They paid $300,000, but they had 2 houses. They had a demo and and that.
Okay, but still, you're not far off base adding 4 more parcels.
And that was
to
a
what-
long time
That was a
ago.
long time ago. Now things, and it's not coming around again.
Yeah.
So,
Was those 9 and 10? Is it
and we
half
don't
an
even
acre?
know a price yet. They haven't started negotiating. These are just talks about, can we get to a negotiation table? So,
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
not have a problem with negotiating on those properties.
Yeah.
Obviously, I just want to make sure that
You're not going to buy anything down for like that for acre and a half for 600,000.
Right.
Ain't gonna happen.
Okay.
Devin?
you call the shots
We
now.
have to
Well,
negotiate.
Hold on a second. I will open public.
I'm just helping you out, brother.
I know
That's
he's
all I'm
there.
doing.
I'm not going to forget him. Go ahead, Chris.
I'm sorry, who do we have to negotiate this on our behalf?
Andy?
It's been talked about, Nancy and myself.
I don't negotiate, I draw papers. I mean, I
Okay.
would not be the
Billy said his attorney, his brother-in-law's a realtor or his son-in-law's a realtor, but he wasn't going to use a realtor. He just was going to use his lawyer.
You're gonna need to have somebody
So,
represent your interests.
He was just going to get a lawyer. He wasn't going to
We'll
use
have to figure that out,
Lawyer.
Chris.
So I would have to.
We
I
need,
would welcome
we need
that.
somebody who does this, who's savvy, that understands things, that, this is not a place for us to like, okay, well, let's just make a contract. We need to be very methodical with this, and I think we need to move forward. But we need to have somebody negotiating this who's able to do this correctly, and or we're not out there,
Right. One advantage we do, he does want to sell to the city before anybody else, so that's a huge advantage. But I agree with Chris. I mean, Andy can do preliminary negotiations. We already talked to him.
So are we under a consensus that can do?
And
We can obtain our own realtor.
Yeah,
Let's-
I have his motion.
And or attorney. We could hire an attorney or realtor or both to represent us.
And you can, so the attorney part we can handle, my firm can handle that
Yeah.
part. We have a real estate person,
okay.
I mean, we could do that part.
Feedback.
Negotiating is not what I would do. I wouldn't call them up and say, hey, I'll give you 1.2. I don't do that part. My firm wouldn't do that part. But there are people that will do that. And I would obviously recommend that you find the right person for that, with something that's substantial, and I can help you with that.
Well,
So I appreciate the
Yeah.
offer the confidence
Well-
you have in me, but it will not be me to do that part of it. I would
well,
do it in my-
it was mainly you and Andy handle it,
Yeah.
or negotiate whatever. But yeah, you guys could handle it. But if you want to have someone else to negotiate, then do you have anybody tonight that would be able to do that?
No, it's
I
gonna
mean-
take time to find that person. That's.
I can't really do that. I mean,
I think
my
you
friend,
need
and he
somebody
wants.
who's
I
savvy.
could work a deal out with him, but I mean, I can't
We
do that.
probably
though.
already have that person in the city. It's probably a conversation that Andy could have with somebody. And it doesn't have to be a full-blown commission. It can just be like a piecemeal thing. Okay, we want you to put together the documents for this. I mean, a good real estate attorney who is savvy could handle this for you. I don't really know any in the area. There's a couple that are over in Trinity that are very good. But you need to have somebody that's willing to get in there and negotiate and get this whole thing done. So they're going to do it with the Thai restaurant and everything. Just do the whole thing at one time.
Well, the Thai restaurant would be a separate issue. I think.
Maybe Newport Richie has somebody.
Newport Richie might have someone they could recommend,
talk to them.
because they obviously.
If you want to move all at one time, where somebody's going to get,
Right.
somebody's going to say, "Oh, you bought all that now."
Right.
Things have changed.
Well, that's kind of what I was trying to get to tonight.
And I understand it's a separate contract, but it happens at the same time.
Yeah, we can't use Sean, I guess, because he's on the planning and zoning board. Is that?
That would be a conflict, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
You'd be making money off of it. It'd be some private gain. That'd be a problem. But I
Maybe
would
Sean has
maybe
a partner.
check with Newport Richie.
We could leave that up to Andy, and Andy could consult with us individually on that, and then we could move forward.
Before this, his brother is a good friend of mine, and I know that there's a couple of people already made offers on that property, and I think Andy knows what that is, so he understands he can't just go in there and insult the guy. He'll walk and sell it to him. So I don't want to do that. But Andy knows that, so he understands the conversation we had. But if he had some help, he wants help, I'm all for that.
I welcome help, team effort. But I've already spoken. We did an initial consultation with him, and I think lowballing would be he'd just walk and sell it to somebody else. He'd like to sell it to the city, but he's got to make a certain amount to make family.
He's giving us first dibs is all.
Go ahead and make your motion so we get.
Yeah, I want to make a motion with the right appropriations that Andy and Nancy work a deal with Billy on that property, as well as the Thai restaurant property, or purchase of those properties.
Second.
Okay, motion is second. Any further discussion? Chris, anything else?
No, sir, I'm good.
Okay. Public comment?
So this is a complicated thing, but this is what I was talking about, where we could put money into something that's a long-term goal, and this is the beginning of that. This is just getting our foot in the door. And, you know, the Ryan Burke show is potentially spending $138 million on these properties right over there. $2 million is nothing. If that's what they build next door, why wouldn't we want control over that as an interest for our city? I mean, if this is our crown jewel, like Chris said, we want to be able to have a stake in this to where some developer comes in and doesn't buy it out from underneath us. And what it really comes down to, and it boils down to what's called opportunity costs, because you can't go back into the past and buy things once they're worth what they are. You're never going to be able to get your hands on these properties, and there's synergies down there, because obviously we bought those two properties for what, $500,000, those little two lots that we rent out or whatever, and then we got Nick's Park. I mean, and then we got Waterfront Park. That gives us a whole different kind of dynamic and synergy down there that we can play on, and allows us to do things that we otherwise wouldn't be able to do. And we can shape that area to our vision, which gives the citizens, through you guys, an opportunity to actually have a say down there, rather than private interests coming in and doing whatever they want and running rampant in the city and developing whatever. This is a wonderful idea. This is exactly what we need for the citizens, and it gives us an opportunity to actually do something. And it's here. You know, it's right in front of us. You know, the Thai restaurant just came up for sale because they got flooded. They don't want to do it no more. Billy's been done for forever. He owned all that almost, you know, for a long time, and he wants out. Hopefully we can keep a bait shop there for, you know, a while or whatever, and maybe redo that and rebuild that. Whether a parking garage goes in there or not, that's a long-term plan. But you eat an elephant one bite at a time, and we need long-term visions in this city. And we have 6 more years in CRA, which means we can purchase this now and keep inching this along into something great that we control as a city. And that's the beauty of this. So, and as far as comps and stuff like that, if you know, as being speculatory, if you know you have a development potentially going in for $138 million, not even, a football field away, yeah, $2 million is no big deal. And also, too, the opportunity cost, just because we got Nick's Park and that other piece of property, and that would give us that whole strip to build something better. If you own, I bought 11 properties on Bay Boulevard, and because I own all of them in aggregate, they're worth way more than individually, because maybe one day I could sell that to somebody in an entirety, and it's worth way more. So it's the same thing for the city. It gives us a synergy. So that's my spiel. So good job. I'm glad everybody's seemed to be in agreement.
Yeah.
Eric.
One question I have for you, just because at the last meeting you mentioned that you weren't on board with spending money on properties. What's different about this property, just because it's so close to the park?
Okay, so that's an interesting point. This is opening us up to be able to do something greater with the whole Nick's Park and those two properties. Before, we really can't do anything because we got these 2 lots that are almost useless to us. That's why we haven't done anything with them, is because they're useless. And Nick's Park is, kind of a weird thing where the parking and stuff. So there's really not an ability to really do anything with a vision. But when you buy these in aggregate, it changes the whole dynamic, and it opens up opportunities, whether it be parking garages, shops, or something for the public, or a private public venture. You can do so much. For instance, if we were able to buy the whole downtown area, think about what we could do. You could do so much with that, and we have the opportunity to do it. And I don't think if we buy that, we're just going to leave that vacant. We're going to be able to do something relatively easy, like do parking and stuff for now, and then later we'll be able to put in shops or something to that effect. So it's a long-term thing. I mean, that's how you got to think when you're doing these things. Nothing's going to happen in Port Richey like that. It's going to take time, but I think Bob's got a wonderful vision, and I think Eric means well as well. He's got his eyes set on certain things down there, and I get that. But I think that we need to have a stake in that area, and that gives us that power and control, which is really what matters.
Yep. I just want to clarify that because there was one thing you ran about not spending money for land acquisition. But obviously, this is a good instance of where that land acquisition might make some sense.
I'm a common sense guy, and if there's a good deal, like Chris sees the value in this because he's like a real estate guy to some degree, and he's like, man, if he's thinking of it as if it were his own, and that's why he's excited. You can hear it in his voice.
Yeah. Thank you. All right. So I'll say it's all public, so I'm gonna bring it back for a vote. I'm up on this, but obviously just at the very limited portion of making negotiation. Obviously, I want to hear what kind of price comes back. I want to talk about vision and stuff down there because I will agree 110% that that's a very key property that has huge potential for all kinds of things. And if we own that, we are going to control it, and we need to make sure that we do the right things with it. And I think that would involve some public comment, obviously going forward, maybe exercise or whatever, but definitely up on it. So all in favor, signify by saying aye. 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 Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Yes.
Okay,
Good morning.
I got 10 minutes, so yeah, a couple things.
Do you have more than that? It's CRA meeting.
Well, I know, I do, sort of correct. But anyway, appreciate that vote. But there's a couple other things I think we should be doing and looking at. I was riding around today. I've been thinking for quite a while, and I've been a lot of different communities. I just had a birthday party for my grandchild down in Dunedin, and they have a lot of places have these splash pads. And I'm going to tell you right now, dollar for dollar, a nice splash pad increases people's property value more than anything you can dollar for dollar. Either we have a perfect place, a perfect idea for the right property, of putting a nice splash pad between the playground and the dog park on Waterfront Park, a recirculating splash pad. And I looked at them, and they're not astronomical. You can spend anywhere from $50,000 to $200,000, and you can have something when moms go by. Oh my God, that's where I have my kid's birthday party at. Or they can go down there in the summertime when it's hot, and they can play on the playground and jump in the splash pad. And some of these new splash pads have things for underprivileged children. Also, it creates motions where they can play, and it's good for coordinating young children to play in the water, especially with their parents. So there's a lot of things you can do with a splash pad, and I think Waterfront Park would be a great place to have it. And I would like to have Andy and Sal look into designs for splash pads, get prices so we can maybe get an engineering plan. We need shovel-ready ideas for the state so they can see we're serious about what we're doing down here. That's one thing. And I think that would be a great improvement for the city. To tie into the playground at Waterfront Park with a nice splash pad.
In your research, those, do you know, are those like pool water where they recirculate, or
right? You can have both. The recirculating one costs a little more initially, but it saves you a lot of water.
Sure.
So just pumping water into it, let it drain into it would recirculate like a pool, and you'd have a pool filter and chlorinator. And I would recommend elevating it, so if it floods, it won't get damaged. But that's, once you get some ideas together, him and Sal put together some plans, we can look at that, and we can get some prices and get a footprint for it over there. And I think we could get assistance building that as well. I think we could do matching dollars, and you're talking probably less than $100,000 out of the city to build a $250,000 splash pad. And that would be a great investment for the city. Yeah. Another idea I was looking
for. So on that one, if and I think we've talked about sunshades or shade sales for a long time, and we tried to get some grants, never got anywhere with them. I don't think they're that astronomical.
If the shade over at Gildogs you just talked about.
Well, if we move that over there, but I mean, you could actually do some nice triangular type shade sales or whatever.
Pavilions, a couple of pavilions would be nice. They're expensive though.
So is there any objections to have the staff move forward with looking at splash pad placement and plans, as well as putting some shade sails over there and kind of get us an idea of costs. Is there any objections to that?
I don't have any problems with any of the things we're talking about, but I think Waterfront Park alone is a much bigger project. And instead of going around on the outside and working little things on the sides of it, I think we need a master plan.
Right.
And we need to, we're going to pop big, we're going to pop that, we're going to pop the waterfront over there at Gill Dogs, and then they're going to put up their, condos. It's all going to happen at one time. So I think we should probably, I know Devin said earlier we waste a lot of money on planning, but I'll tell you what, poor planning causes big pain in the end. So we should probably think about planning a little bit more with this beautiful property we have at Waterfront Park.
And I think it's a great idea.
Splash pad, 'cause I think it's an awesome idea.
So just looking at
100% with Chris on exactly what he said. The problem with waterfront is we're limited, unfortunately, but I agree with Chris 100%. Like the docks, that's phase one. There's 4 phases. I'm not going to get into the others. That my idea, I want you guys to think about it, but until he comes in the year with what we've already proposed at Next Park, I'm not going to really talk about the others because we got to see how that works first.
Yeah. Well,
But a splash pad would help with investments and help down at Waterfront Park, and as far as future developments and future funds, I think.
Yeah.
We got to show that the county and state were serious about
No,
what we're
and,
doing.
and so I like Chris thinking. Absolutely, we've got a lot of things. We've talked about amphitheater this now. One thing I haven't brought up, but what we need a connection to go across to the downtown waterfront district and connect that park across that water. So a footbridge or whatever, where people can walk across there and go back and forth. So I think rather than look at that small piece, why don't we get maybe somebody to kind of draw something up?
Derek can speak to.
Yes, go ahead, comment.
So as we work with our proposed consultant, I'm taking all this information back to them because that's what they're looking for is feedback, but those are ideas. And the deliverable would be a 3D model. And so whatever community decides and council decides, they'll 3D model it so you can actually see what it looks like and make, edits that way. And then choose a design and then prioritize, which part you want to hit first, depending on funding. And then the next step would be actual design engineering. But all these comments are helpful because that's what we're going to eventually look for. We'll still do a workshop with the community and the board and the council, but these are helpful to get us even a little bit closer and speed up the process.
You wouldn't want the expense of a public pool. It'd be 20 times a splash pad. A splash pad is a great way to cool off on a
Insurance.
budget. Kids are moving and they're cooling off, and it's on a budget compared to a pool and the ongoing maintenance and lifeguarding of that. So great idea, sir. We'll get right on that one.
Yeah, so maybe let's put together a master plan, and maybe we can have a workshop and kind of talk
as
about.
Derek was saying, Tampa Bay Regional Planning Conference is the first entity we've gone to see what their pricing is on a master plan, and he's taking all this input. Please speak to that.
Yeah, they don't have to be the person. We're just shopping around. Since we're a member of government, we thought we might get a better price. And so right now they're just gathering data to present to us a cost. If we don't like it or it doesn't work out for us, we can go to a regular design engineering firm.
Okay. Go ahead.
So anyway, I just think that would be above all a great improvement for the city, and I think it would draw people from all around. Anyway, my grandkids live in Largo, and they drove all the way to Need for a little water splash pad. So, Brasher Park, I was down there today looking at what they were doing down there. It's definitely different.
That it is.
Daryl's out there mowing the grass, and the guys were having sandwiches and some kind of beverage. But anyway, I've been all over the state at different boat ramps, and as far as having those like a boat ramp, I thought that would be great for the citizens go, so they get away from the traffic down here at Nick's or even what Pasco and New Richie's doing. There's a couple big problems, and if you look at the map up here, if you come in down here, boat ramps, you have to come in, you have to have a staging area. You have to have staging area and water for boats waiting for their turn. It may not be a lot, it could be 2. But you need to have a staging area, you need to have docks. This would probably be the best location for a boat ramp would be at the end down here This really isn't feasible. But if you got a truck and a trailer, I've done this many times, your public boat ramps take up a lot of real estate. A lot of real estate. You come in and you'd have a staging here just like you do at Nick's Park, and you wait or if someone's at the ramp. If not, then you drive around here and you pull up and then you back in to put the boat in the water. What you do if you put a boat ramp out there, you lose all this parking here, you lose all this parking here. You only have parking for trucks and trailers, maybe right here, and it would probably be about 18 of them.
Well, so keep in mind too, because we talked about this today in respect to moving the bathroom here. Obviously, in this photo, you see the old bathroom, but if we would put the bathroom, you see where the sign is right there at the very corner we come in.
Right.
So you would basically kind of get close to that, and we actually talked about you could possibly take that old sign. It's like a gate. Put that on the bathroom facility and have a mural there, a sunset or whatever, where it kind of would serve as a sign and the bathroom as well. But basically, as you would come in, you would expand across all that green space. So you would bring your trailer along that perimeter on the north. As you come around and you'd come down, make the turn, and you'd have the launch there, and then you'd have the parking kind of right.
So you got a lot of mangroves here. Actually, this is an old picture because this all mangroves here. You can't even see the water, which is talked about trimming them.
Right, that tree line basically is right where
all through here. So,
but you would be able to get around that back. You'd have to have one-way traffic
you'd
coming
have
in.
a road that goes over here.
Yeah, basically right along the perimeter there.
And over this
on
way.
the other side of the bathroom would be here.
Right.
It's just no engineering or anything,
Okay.
but it would make a little sense. But you come one way into the park and you'd go out on the other side, and the parking would be in the middle there. And again, this is very, very same footprint as Nick's Park, which is kind of what Nick's Park does. You come in,
Right.
make the loop.
But they have a whole lot of parking. Well, hopefully.
Right. Well, if you open up all that green space and you design it right.
Well, one of the biggest problems, what we need to determine first, if you want to do that, is dredging. This is all grass area out here.
Right.
And this here belongs to somebody. This, according to this, and that belongs to us. I don't see the state dredging through grass wetlands. I just don't see them doing it.
Well, again, the whole purpose, if we were to look at it, would be a local launch that could be used at different tide levels. If obviously when the low tide was there, you wouldn't be able to use it, but during the higher tides or whatever you would. And once we had the facility, then we could petition to get some state money to make that more of a deep water out there to get some help with that.
If you make all this parking, even out here, what you can't do, you're going to eliminate parking. People use this park now.
Right.
You can see 20 cars out there on a weekend.
Mm-hmm. Well, the one you have there now has
Now,
about 15. So.
Like I said, I thought it would be cool. I'm just thinking practicality. I'm not sure if the state is going to dredge that, or anybody will, because they do a grass survey on that.
Well, they're surveying it right in this now.
This here, they're looking at this, but they'd have to continue out, and that's the problem with them going. We'll see what they say, but I don't see. I looked at this dredging, and because of the grass beds that are out there, they're not going to dig up grass beds. And anywhere you go out here to get the deeper water, you're going to have to grass bed. Now, if you want it like kayak launching, canoe launching, that would be awesome. That would be. Well, I know they have that at the other park, but this would be great to have that here.
And that's what people are doing, by the way. They're launching their kayaks. They're fishing from the bank. That's what they're doing down there. They're not playing in the playground.
Right.
I mean, you may have they haven't played in the playground for a long time. So.
Right. And I'm not. The waterfront park is for that. But if you have pavilions out there and maybe a small playground, that's fine. What a lot of people have talked about, and gave me some great ideas. She just gave me a great idea tonight too. Is right over here in this corner, you could put a big observation platform. And you could build it up and make it look like the still house. So you'd have like a pavilion that look like a still house, and you could have you'd have stairs, and you have another level on the roof of that for another observation deck on top of that. Mm-hmm. So you'd have like a still house sort of observation deck with another observation deck on top of it. And that would be a photogenic moment for a lot of people. A lot of people would use that. They use the park now. They'd even use it more then. I think that would be better utilized.
You might even put that out a little bit into the, because it's going to be on stilts anyway.
It's on stilts. You could put it out
Yeah, you
here.
can just put it out a little bit off the line.
Right.
Gives you to
So-
free up your space in the park too. So
I mean, having more boat access for residents or whoever, you're limited there. It's just so small.
well, limited. Keep in mind, and you
Right.
guys keep coming back with it's not deep water, not deep water. There's a lot of launches that you can do that you don't need deep water, and that's obviously kayaks and all that, and jet skis,
Tarpon
and
Springs has Sunset
John
Beach.
boats, and all that. And if you give a place that you can, again, you can put a sign down the other one and say, if you draft less than this, please go down to our
I had a
better
John
facility,
boat.
get you out closer. You don't have to go down the river. You could.
When I was younger, I had a 14-foot John boat. I could tow it behind my car or whatever. And I took that thing, I took it down to Fred Howard Park. I parked on the side road. Me and my friend lifted it off and put it in the water. So you can put boats in the water in a lot of different places. You can do that here. You can do that with kayaks. But if you're going to have a guy with a 25-foot open fisherman, he's not going to go anywhere out there.
No.
And if he goes
But
at high tide, he can only come back at high tide.
Right.
That's
true.
limited.
That's
I
true.
mean, okay, wait the high tide to launch it. Well, we're gonna have to camp out until the tide comes back in to get it out down.
But
the
again,
water.
you know that you know what launches you go to because of those, and you
Right.
would have to post this is
That's
not
what
a
I'm
deep
saying.
water launch.
If we make this fully utilized for small craft, kayaks, paddle boats, craig cats, that's fine. But we have to make it limited. And if you're going to limit it, then why put all this over here? Put pavilions over here or something, and have that big. Like I said, you could put the stilt house out here on the water a little bit farther, or observation deck of some kind. But I was wondering also, if we put this project together, I think Andy and Sal can get an idea of what something like this would cost, and it's something that we could also present to the state. This is our plan for the future, and I want to impress them. I want them to know we got our shit together, and we're putting something together for the city.
Yeah.
It's not on the cuff. This is what we're planning to do.
Yeah.
And I think these, like Brad Yeager and the guys up there that live in this area, I think they would be I know the county would be impressed, but I think they'd be impressed.
If you're adding water access, I can tell you there's going to a lot of people be interested.
Absolutely. So if you want to have a workshop on what to do with this, or if you have some ideas, but I think if we could just work, we know kind of what you want to do with the boat ramp. We kind of know what that costs. Get an idea of what we need to do to put an observation deck. If you want to make it look something like a stilt home, which they were talking about, that would be a destination in itself.
Right.
You want to visit the stilt homes? Come out to Brasher Park. You'll see just what they are and look at the view.
Right.
So,
No, I like
and that's not a
the
huge
observation
expense.
tower aspect of it.
I don't think it'd be a huge expense. I know they built that stilt house up for like 20,000, but that's their buddies doing it. But I'd like to see what it would cost.
Yep. No, I think it'd be a great fit for out there. So
Awesome.
That's it for tonight. Oh, one thing. The firehouse. We need to determine where we're going to put that thing.
you said that already. Yeah, we're going to wait till the
We're gonna
12th.
wait till then. Okay. Don't pick on me.
Just kidding.
You do that every night. Well, I hate coming here just because of you.
While we're talking about Brasher Park, though, there was a question that came up today that we talked about the old dock that we had that got loose or whatever. Daryl, when Matt was here, they were going to move it over here for the kayak launch stuff, but nothing's happened. And so he was wanting to know what do we do. And so I told him I'd bring it up tonight about putting that over here for the.
I don't know what kind of shape.
Talking about Nick's Park?
I don't know what. You know,
There's
Sal-
floating
Sal's
dock
gone.
and Nick's.
How about the floating dock?
Floating dock and Nick's came loose. I understand. On one of
It
the
was
hurricanes.
upside down, but they got it back in the water there.
Get rid of that.
Yeah, so it's back on, but it had to be put on the pilings.
If
right?
we tear down the pier, the Nick's Park, they
We
want to
could
maybe
repurpose.
utilize that dock over Brasher.
Well, I thought there was another one he's got it tied somewhere or something. I don't know if it's. Do you know, Veronica?
I think it's at Waterfront Park.
Oh. There's they one that broke away in a storm or whatever, and they floated away. They brought it back or whatever, and just to put it somewhere, they were going to put it here to help out with the kayak launches and whatever. And actually, we applied for a grant to coordinate with that an ADA accessible launch for kayaks, but we didn't get approved for the grant.
Well,
So.
all this stuff should be ADA. That I
agreed.
mentioned tonight too. Yes, I meant to say that. But yeah.
But that would, as opposed to where it's at, if we could maybe get it there and put something there, it might be helpful. You can always move it. So, But he was just needing direction on that. On the, what we're
I
gonna
just, I just like to move, if everybody agrees that Andy and Sal can look into a footprint for that and a cost, maybe we can get a preliminary design on something like that. He doesn't have to spend any money, I don't think, to do that. Let us know on that. And then that's something that, like I said, we talk to people at the state and the county. This is what we're doing. This is what we want to do. And that'll get their attention. They realize that we're serious about improving the city.
Well, honestly, if we're gonna do that there with observation tower, boat ramp, and other thing, there needs to be some engineering involved. You know, we can do obviously some conceptual models or whatever, but if we maybe by consensus get a cost on what it would do to do the engineering of that, and then we can review that. If it's relatively inexpensive, we can have it move forward.
Well, the splash pad companies will have engineering plans for that and a cost that we can present.
Mhm.
And I don't know what the cost is to get that, but if there is a cost, bring it up to the next meeting so we can decide what to do. But I think they have different designs and they can send you the engineering plans and the cost for that if we have the footprint for it, which we do. And then I think that's all we would need to present, that this is what we're doing, this is where we're putting it. That's pretty simple to do that, I think. But I mean, I looked at it and they had costs in it and they had designs, and you can call a company and they would send you the designs and everything. If you want them to move forward with it, they would tell you exactly what the cost is and the deposit, whatever. So just have that prepared so we can maybe make something. I think we could do that ourselves, but if we take that and get some help from the county or the state or both,
Sure,
maybe matching funds to do something like that, I think they'd jump on it.
the Florida Trust might even have some money for that too, to improve parks that we're already in. So
I think it should be something nice.
yeah, and we're locked in FCT now because of the money we used back when we developed that park. Obviously,
Right.
get some more from it.
And that's something that I think they would approve with, no problem.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
Anybody else have any comments? Did I get through everybody?
I
Let's start with so
Yeah.
you're next.
Green Key has those deck trails that go through the mangroves. Have you ever been to Green Key?
Yeah.
And I thought if we could incorporate one of those into one of our parks, that would be really neat. They're really great.
Right, Brashon with us around through there, yeah.
Right.
Walk through there.
It doesn't have to be
beautiful
that
out there.
elaborate, but
Yeah. No, I think if we look at Brasher Park, put the plan together, talk about observation, talk about boat launch, and somehow make that to where it's you walk through there or whatever, that'd be great.
Can we clarify I didn't hear what
It's a
deck,
like green.
it's a deck trail. Excuse me, over at Green Key Park in Newport Richey.
It's like a decking that you walk
Yeah.
through.
It goes through the mangroves, so you're just touring through the mangroves. It's pretty neat.
runs over the mangroves.
They
And you go out in the middle of a bunch of mangroves and
Right.
kind of little.
it's an
neat.
observation
It
trail,
really is neat, yeah.
but I would put cameras on it because I've been on some of the others and people just throw trash there. It's like, I'd put cameras there.
But no, that'd be a good place to incorporate that in with the lookout. You come down the lookout and do your
Right.
walk around.
Yeah.
You could
Or
have
maybe,
go up
the
through it that
outskirts of
way.
it or
a
something.
walking deck and a little fishing pier added onto it right there.
Yeah, and again, that maximizes the green space that you have because you can build all that kind of out into the water area. That's a good idea.
And CRA was talking about wherever we can incorporate a lookout that has one of the stilt homes, like model it after.
Mhm.
I know
I
we
like
don't have that many parks, but we would pick the best three if we had 3 places or 2, and keep the parks looking somewhat uniform with our stilt homes, and that'd be kind of cool, really.
I like that. Good idea.
I wanted to reassure the finance director that none of this would cost very much money. I saw him twitching.
Like subtraction. Oh my gosh.
He was twitching.
Councilwoman Burke? Is that what you had? Sorry.
Oh, good.
Councilwoman Burke? Vice Mayor? Or Vice Chair Mayor.
Vice Chairman.
Yeah.
I'm excited that we're all moving cohesively together. We're making decisions. Things are happening. We're not stagnant. I'm excited about that. That's all I gotta say.
I don't have anything else either. So
Can I ask something?
sure.
Sorry to interject, but
If Ashley's okay with it.
while I'm in the land acquisition business, I checked and it's legal. Utilities improvement, utilities is a valid use of CRA funds, and we don't have other funding. So I could look into purchasing land for the new water plant. with the council's blessing, I could at least investigate, because there's one property really that would do it, and they're interested in selling, but I would need to negotiate.
I thought, didn't we already do that?
We were going to ask for that.
I thought by consensus we.
We did agree.
Yeah, that's why you got the real estate.
I've got a green light to
Yes.
for that property.
Yep.
Yes, I mean, also we're going to have to build a water plant somewhere, and so we need property for that for sure. So definitely.
Okay, so I'll also continue with that. I've got an offer right now that I'd like to counter offer, but I wanted to make sure I had
Okay.
blessing.
We're also looking at a place to burn rubbish too. Remember?
Burn
Yeah.
rubbish.
Burn brush.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any luck on that?
I
know they were working on it.
There's an issue. You have to be 1,000 feet apart in all directions, and there's a house less than 1,000 feet. So we're looking at, we could relocate it, but I think we'd have to chop some trees down. So can I have a little more time to get back?
Fire said they were gonna measure that.
Yeah. I sent Gary home, so I'm not sure, but I'll get that.
Okay. Anything else?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.